Hi there, welcome and welcome back. I am Angela, this is Clark Fine Art, and in this video I am going to share with you my new gouache travel palette and what I decided to fill it with, which colors, and why I chose those colors. So let's get down to the desk and get started. Okay, so I've recently shared with you that I got the Himi Gouache. And this is a set of 24. Everything will be linked in the description below. So this is a set of 24 colors. Now I knew that I wanted to take some of these colors and put them in this palette. Now I've had this palette for a while, and drop me a comment below and let me know. Are you the same way? I got this palette and it's been quite a while now. And I've used the water well part many times. However, I just couldn't decide what I was going to give this precious little space to. What medium, which paints, what brand. And so it's just been sitting empty for the better part of a year. And I've done a little some plein air painting this summer. And I decided, I really want to have some gouache that I can take with me. I thought about putting my Daniel Smith colors in here, but my Daniel Smith palette, you guys have seen it before. It's a little bigger, but it's not so big that I couldn't take it with me as it was. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to put some of this Himi Gouache in here, and because I don't feel so precious about this. I am happy to play with this gouache and use it. It's not, sometimes we get those supplies and we're just like, oh, like a project's not worthy of our best supplies, which is not true. You want to use what you have. But I decided I was going to go with the Himi Gouache. You'll see inside here, I have put a paint puck in here, and I love it because it stays stuck to the bottom. You can pop this water well out, and I love my paint pucks, especially when I'm using gouache. It really gets all of that thicker paint out of my brush. So I can keep that in there, and still, even when that's closed down, and I go to put this back together, it still fits. I don't have to worry about taking it out. I can keep it right in there with it. So I love using the paint pucks, and I love that I can keep that in here. So again, everything's linked below if you see something that interests you. So just going to set the water well part aside. This has a rest, 2 of them, where you could rest a brush. It also has, the spots where you can hold the brushes in the side of it. I don't typically leave brushes here, unless, of course, I know I'm going to use those brushes in a painting. Then I might start with them standing here. But once they're wet, I always keep my brushes either like that or flat on the desk. And I always leave them flat to dry, or in my other paint puck that holds them, I put them like this to dry. But I like that those features that you can rest your brush there. I've used this quite often. And let's look at the palette. So the palette, it has a clip here, which once the little nub sets into, there's a groove on this water well inside there. So once it sets in there and it clips down, there's a little nub that sticks out here, and that just clips over it. So it stays secure. They stay together. You're not going to lose, either of your pieces. But then the clip comes off this way. Now you have a mixing space here. And let me just slide this up. This actually, it presses on there. So I need to remember that when I'm filling the wells up, that I don't fill them too full. But this silicone gasket presses into place. And then when this closes, you have a nice airtight seal to keep your gouache wet inside. Now let's talk about the colors. All of these colors from the 24 set are not going to fit in here because, of course, this will only hold 16, which meant I have to give up 8 colors. 8 whole colors. It was hard, but let me show you how I narrowed it down. I'm just going to cover this up for a moment so I don't stick my paper in the gouache. There we go. So this is my swatch, and I've shared this with you in a previous video. This here, I looked at these colors and then thought, can I mix some of those colors from other colors that are in the palette? And this is what I decided. Let me just kind of turn this sideways. When I looked at this here, so they call it purple, but it looks pink to me. But looking at this pink color, which again they call purple, I mixed rose and white, and I got this. And I thought, you know what? That is close enough. I don't use a lot of pink in my painting, so I think that that is close enough, and I can mix it. Then looking at pale purple, I mixed violet and white, and I got this. And I thought, you know what? Those are pretty darn close too. Close enough that I don't feel this needs to take up a space in my palette. Same thing here. For this sky blue, I mixed the cobalt and white, and I got this one. A little bit more white, and I think I'd be spot on. So I went ahead and eliminated that one from the palette. Then here we had Prussian blue. Prussian blue is really, really deep. Bring that closer so you can see. And I thought, you know what? I wonder. I mixed ultramarine and black, and I got something that, yet again, I felt was close enough that I'm not going to worry about putting the Prussian blue in my palette. Now, the other one, this jade green, I mixed pale green and cobalt, and I got pretty close. This one is still a bit cooler, but with these greens in my palette and being able to mix my yellows and my blues, which this is, you see all these greens here, all of these greens were mixed. I didn't feel I needed to give up space for this one. Or if you look over here at my yellow green, when I mixed acid blue and lemon yellow, I got pretty close. But I think if I did my pale green, just a touch of the pale green into the lemon yellow, I'd probably come even closer. So, sorry, lemon or yellow green, it doesn't get a spot in this palette. The other ones that I mixed up, you'll see I tried a couple times, and then I got here. And this was rose, white, and a tiny bit of the medium yellow. And I felt I could get pretty close to the nude. Again, maybe a little extra white, and I'd be spot on. So I wasn't worried about that. And if you saw the video where I unboxed this Himi set, you know that they sent me a big refill of the white. So knowing that I'm going to use up a lot more white if I'm mixing all of these lighter colors, I'm not worried about it because there's plenty more to go around. Here, looking at the orange, medium yellow and orange were pretty close already. But I just took the lemon yellow and Ponceau and I got an orange that I was more than happy with. So orange also did not get a spot. I was going back and forth whether I give up the jade green or the ochre, which is more like a burnt sienna. And I decided that plein air versus more of like a teal green or like a turquoise type green, I would rather have the like burnt sienna type color because I want this for plein air. I want to take it with me outside. And I felt that I could mix enough greens that I wouldn't have to worry about it. I also mixed this. I came closer, I think, on the ochre than I did on the jade green. This was Ponceau earth yellow and a touch of umber. And I got pretty darn close to my raw sienna, or what they call ochre. So that was how I eliminated some of my colors. And I made the decision to pull those out. Then I had to decide which ones get the small spaces, because 4 of these spaces are not quite as big as the others. So I decided that my earth yellow, my rose, I don't use a lot of pink. I think that it would be fine. The violet, a lot of times I like to mix purple, and with this deep red and ultramarine, I already looked at the types of purples that I can create with those. This was just the deep red and the ultramarine and then adding in white. So I felt, you know what? The violet, which is really, really bright, I could go ahead and just give that one a smaller space. And then the other one that I was going to give a smaller space to is the black. Because I felt when I'm using black to mix, it doesn't take much, does it? A little black goes a long way. And other than neutralizing colors or creating shades of different colors, I don't know how much. I will just use the black. So that was how I came to my conclusions of what was going to go where. So I created myself a little chart, and I am just going to take these colors and load them in here. I'm not going to make you watch all of that. We will speed that process up. And then I will be right back with you. Okay, we are all filled up with gouache. Now, once I place this on the gouache to close this palette up, I'm going to want to make sure that every time after that I always put it back the same way, because there will be some paint that will get on here while these are still full. And that, I have got paint all over me. I would have had some bloopers for sure had I let the camera roll, because it took a little something to go ahead and fill it, but I filled it with my palette knife. And it looks like it still has some paint on it. And having the pointier palette knife definitely helped to get into those little wells. But have you filled one of these? Do you have an easier way to fill it than just scooping with the palette knife and tapping it till it goes in there? Drop me a comment and let me know, because if you do, I would love to hear it to make refills easier. But all in all, I'm happy with the way they came out. Look at the colors. I think that's a great selection of color. I can't wait to take this out and paint with it. So that was how I narrowed down to get 8 less than what came in my 24 by mixing them and playing with the colors and seeing what I could make to see what I could do that was very similar to take them out of the palette. I love that now I can have this in the studio and this in my bag to take with me. I'm going to just place this on here because I am actually heading out today. And I think I might take it with me when I go out. So if you see when I take this off, see what I mean? It's gonna get paint on it. So you're gonna want to make sure that you put them back the same way. And I'm sure that once I use up some of this paint, I'll just wash this off. And it'll be fine. I've seen some that have the palette and it is quite a mess. And they just go through and clean it every once in a while. But we're going to see. We'll see how my adventure goes with this palette and what I actually think once I've been using it for a while. I have white paint out on the outside of it. Because I did. I made a mess, guys. I made a total mess. It was off camera. You didn't see it, although you might have enjoyed the laugh at my expense, but that's okay. So there we go. Look at that. I am super excited to get this, take this with me and go do some plein air painting with it. For whatever reason, all of a sudden I just couldn't fit that back down in there. There we go. There we go. And there's my little travel gouache palette from my larger 24 set. Now, if I would have used like my 50 set, forget it. Like I would have had such a time trying to narrow down my colors, but I like the more limited palette. And even 16, that's more than enough colors for me to mix. And I will definitely do some videos with that. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see some plein air videos using my new Himi Gouache travel palette. Going to be, like I said, I have to go do a sleep study today. So this is coming with me for once they hook me up and before the hours that I actually have to go to sleep. I'm just going to paint. And yeah, I'm excited to take this and see how it goes. So there you go. I'm going to pop another video up right here that you might like to watch next. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. YouTube definitely rewards interaction. Drop me a comment. And, you know, if you're enjoying your time here, you might consider clicking the subscribe button. Until next time, my friends, keep creating, and I will see you in a video real soon.